Okay, so I might be starting something new called Carline Chronicles. Anyway, waiting to pick up my boy from lacrosse practice, and I figured got something on my brain that I want to talk about. It is about swelling and rolled ankles and how you treat them. So one of our fit stops that we did this past week, fit stops or a pit stop for your body performance for your blue collar workers, talking to someone who rolled his ankle probably 2 weeks ago or something like that, but it was still kind of bothering him. I want to spread the knowledge that ice is for cocktails and not for injuries. It's a broad blanket statement, right? But it's something that we really want to start pushing this education out more, that ice is not always the answer for healing and for long-term healing. The physician that coined the term RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation, Dr. Gabe Mirkin, he actually came out 9 years ago and recanted the whole ice part of that. So here's how it works. Ice is really good at numbing an area. So ice is better than opioids for pain relief. So we want to still keep it in the equation. It really depends on some situations, but in general, for things like a rolled ankle or minor hurts and aches and soreness, you don't always want to reach for the ice. Ice will constrict all the vessels. And so I think we've been taught that, and I was a lifeguard in high school and, just kind of learning first aid things. We were just taught that that's what you do, you ice it. But ice is constricting all the fluid function. So we've been taught that inflammation is the enemy. Inflammation is not really the enemy. Your body is sending fluids and cells and healing properties to that affected area to help it heal. So everything's like on guard, let's go, and everybody to that area, let's fix it. Fixing it produces some waste, and then the waste needs to come back out. If we're going to shut everything down, then we're actually trapping the good guys from getting in and the waste from getting out. So you have to balance this idea of ice for pain and then circulation for healing. It's a dance that may need to happen, because I'm not going to say that rolled ankles aren't painful. I'm sure they're painful. Maybe a little bit of acetaminophen or something. There's a whole rabbit hole on NSAIDs. If you want to go down that one, those are not recommended just because all the side effects that are with that. Anywho, so we like to go with the whole circulation, pain-free movement, and kinesiology tape are a really great trio. So a lot of times someone will wrap their ankle because they need to fit it in their work boot still, but sometimes the wrap makes the work boot tight. Anyway, that's a whole preference thing. Elevation is still a fair part of that RICE equation. E for elevation. I always tell the workers, and especially if they have swollen ankles of any kind, whether you rolled it or not, stick your feet up your headboard when you get home for 5-10 minutes and let that gravity help take that fluid that needs to get out of the area out, and then your body will send back all the healing properties. So this is just kind of it's not really a rant, it's just an education. It's a chronicle of don't always knee-jerk right into ice for injuries. You can get a lot of good things with pain-free movement. That means maybe my ankle, it hurts to roll it around still, but I can wiggle my toes and I can bend and straighten my knee, and walking doesn't really bother it. No, you're not going to go for a run or anything, but that circulation is really going to help all the tissues get back to where they need to be. And then things like kinesiology tape that can help with pain reduction and swelling. It opens up the channels for everything to go in and out. Is the opposite of ice because it is decompressive. And so compression, then, that C in the RICE equation, is not always great as well. So again, I'm going to say that yes, every situation is a little bit different, but in general, go for something else. And the kid's here. See ya.